In today's world, people often camp out in the wilderness as a hobby, deprived of modern technology and forced to live off the land for a while. A little danger to spice things up. But unlike our beleaguered protagonists, we can always come back to our cushy lifestyles when we feel we're satisfied. Not everyone can be so lucky. Walter, on a search for the mythical werebeaver, went to Woody's house to ascertain some info about recent sightings. Unfortunately, he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. With 130 health, 110 hunger, and 200 sanity, he is a bright boy with a mind full of knowledge about life off-grid and an insatiable curiosity about the macabre. He has an impressive crafting repertoire of slingshot ammo, a portable tent roll, and a loyal canine companion. All while wearing his badges on his chest and his Pine Tree Pioneer hat upon his dome. My name is Lime Lichen. Grab your marshmallows for roasting and a handbook with about 700 different kinds of knots as I tell you all about how it feels to play Walter. I've already established Walter's scouting background and how he just can't help himself to investigate rumors of fantastical beasts, which plays into the most interesting mechanics surrounding his gameplay loop, his health-sanity link. Because he's such a nerd, he isn't affected by sanity auras the same way as other survivors, or at all in his case. Nothing. Not even the complete darkness will drain his morale. Truly, a brave boy this one is. Instead, he has vasovagal syncopes. In simpler terms, he is squeamish and faints at the sight of his own blood. Anytime Walter takes damage and is not wearing his Pine Tree Pioneer hat, he'll take a proportional amount of sanity damage as well, and if his health is below a certain threshold, he'll continue to have a meltdown until he's patched up. Wearing the hat will reduce this effect by half. Additionally, no clothing items can raise his sanity, as he has no mind for high fashion. Not even a tam o'shanter. He is also not immune to the sanity-sopping effect of shadow weapons. Oh! And he's allergic to bees. On the bright side, he gets a 0.6 sanity per second bonus in forests. Yay. Pretty harsh, almost makes you want to avoid combat entirely. But do not despair, dear viewer, much like Wes's low health pool, all this did in my playthroughs was encourage a strong game sense for kiting. The quintessential don't starve skill. Yes, much like rolling in Souls likes. I can only take so much! What the fuck? Your kiting skills will be tested to the max. If successful, nightmare creatures won't ever interrupt your battles, and that's actually my favorite part about combat as Walter. You're rewarded heavily for high technical skill. If by chance you suck at this game as much as I do, and end up with some broken bones, sleep it off with Walter's portable tent roll. It has 10 uses, unlike a normal tent's 15, but can be packed and unpacked at will to be carried with you to sleep anywhere. Great for escaping the cold or Charlie's iron grip. Plus they're a little cheaper than tents, using grass and twigs rather than silk. Food is not hard to come by, so trading that hunger for some decent regen is quite good, especially since Walter actually loses hunger in tents at half the rate of everyone else. Quite literally a sleeper build. You know, you guys should really get some more rest. It's good for you. Not for too long though. You snooze, you lose in the constant, and I'm getting hungry, so off we go to hunt for some fresh meat. As you can see, we've encountered the elusive koalefant. We must be quiet, lest we alert its king. God damn it, get back here! Oh, I hate when that happens. You can't catch the damn things without cornering them or spitballing. Birds are no good either. You're lucky you have wings, little one. You know what? That's just fine. Walter ain't a slouch when it comes to ranged combat. He's got 7 different shots for his trusty slingshot, each with its own applications. The first one, with which we start the game with, are pebbles. Crafted with rocks, they unfortunately only deal 17 damage, not even being able to kill the least of these. But what they lack in stopping power, they excel in grabbing the attention of more cowardly mobs. Koalefants and Krampus come to mind. They won't engage in combat with the player unless you get the first hit in, and not everyone wants to carry around a weapon as niche and annoying to use as the boomerang, or as expensive as blow darts. Even if they are weak, they're cheap, and you get 10 of them for free, making early hunting a piece of cake. Gold rounds are a step up from that, and a little more expensive, crafted using 1 gold nugget for 10 shots. They deal a decent 34 damage, so they can be used for all your avian hunting escapades. I don't recommend making them, however. Gold is not something to just be thrown around early to mid-game. Reserve your gold for science only, and instead craft marbles, using marble. Dealing 51 damage, they are far superior to their gold counterpart, and cheaper as well. I say cheaper because you give up less value from using marble, as you really only use it to make statues and marble suits, neither of which are by any means required to win this game. These shots also require far less commitment to collecting resources than blow darts for about half the damage. These are your basic rounds, which have no other effects except their damage. It's all niche shit from here. Speaking of shit, poop pellets offer no offensive capabilities and are instead used for distracting enemies currently aggressive towards you. Unfortunately, they only work for about 4.5 seconds, so you better get running and cannot be used against giants. Every item has its use in this game, but as I said, very niche. Freeze rounds made with moonrock and blue gems, again, deal no damage, but freeze enemies with the force of 2 shots from an ice staff, and doesn't spend your precious sanity. They're a nice side grade, but I find myself never using ice staves anyways. Also, slinging these things takes a lot longer than an ice staff does, so results may vary in close quarters bouts. Actually, that goes for all the rounds. All of them fire insanely slowly. I timed it and it takes a full second to get one down range. That's not gonna cut it when the mobs are chasing you around. For those cases, slowdown rounds may seem more appropriate. Made from moonrock and purple gems, they do exactly as they describe. They slow down enemies hit by 33.3% for 30 seconds. Would have made more sense for these to be made out of honey, but hey, I'm no game designer. I just play them. I wouldn't touch this recipe with tallbird legs, even though it's actually quite good for hunting them as it makes their kiting pattern easier. By the way, has anyone ever noticed they're a lot faster than in single player? Maybe it's just the lag, but I could never do the 1-2 run pattern, even with the Don't Starve Alone mod. Regardless, slowdown rounds are too expensive for their application, and the enemies that you'd want to run away from, like hounds, are too fast for you to outrun even when slowed down or distracted with poop pellets. I cannot catch a break with this game! The final slingshot round is the Cursed rounds. Using thulecite fragments and nightmare fuel, it is by far the most expensive round, as not only do you need to collect chunks of ancient yellow asbestos, you also can only make these at pseudoscience stations. They deal the same amount of damage as marbles, but introduce RNG and have a 50-50 chance of summoning temporary shadow tentacles, which can deal 17 damage per second for 10 seconds. I say can because, like the thulecite club, it would require the monster not move out of the immediate vicinity of the mini hentais. On the Don't Starve Together wiki.gg page, there is a spreadsheet averaging out the damage, given that an enemy remains stationary and the fire rate of the slingshot remains consistent. According to this, even with the perfect conditions, Walter's peak damage for this ammo is 138 damage per second, which sounds decent, but remember in that time you could deal quite a bit more with a dark sword or similar melee weapon, and some damage boosting items. Really quite disappointing, don't use these. Well, this is depressing. Most of these bullets I'll never use. I wish there was a more versatile and inexpensive tool on our belt. Maybe also doubling as portable storage.
This dog is... Wait, what the fuck? What's going on? I'm scared! Who the fuck is...
Woby replaces the utility for many followers in the game, all for free and accessible as soon as you spawn. She carries a backpack around her neck and can store as much as Chester, and she is immortal, so you won't lose anything if she ends up in the crossfire. She'll be sticking close to you. If you die and revive, she'll keep all her things so you could fill her with emergency supplies for recovery. Want to supersize that meal? When she's fed 3 pieces of monster meat, she'll grow into a faux beefalo and can be used as such for a full 20 minutes, carrying heavy objects and making quick work of navigating larger worlds. She's not that quick, you're not going to be winning any races, but it does certainly help when you don't want to waste time trying to tame beefalo. She becomes cowardly in this state, despite being 50 times larger, so don't engage in any fighting, as when you're hit, you're bucked off and she won't let you get back on until the fight's over. Believe me, I made liberal use of Woby. She acted as my monster meat trash compactor, and allowed me to fight the shadow pieces a little earlier than I normally would. The only thing that could be seen as a downside to her is that you cannot have any other pets from the rock den. But who needs other pets when you have a cute and useful lycanthropic bestie? Oh yeah, friends. Here's the segue into the multiplayer side of things, and all I have to say is, Walter is certainly one of the Don't Starve characters of all time. While he does boast some interesting ranged options and a rewarding health and sanity mechanic, he has a lot to be desired in terms of actual reasons you'd pick him over just Wilson or any of the other 16 characters. No, Wes, you don't count. His perks don't really apply for other characters except his nifty Campfire Stories, which restore the sanity of anyone around him. Alright. Want to hear a really scary story? It happened on a night just like this. A group of friends were out camping in the woods when suddenly they heard noises all around them. howling and scratching from the darkest depths of the forest. The friends huddled close around their campfire, hoping its light would save them from what lurked beyond. But what they didn't know was that it was already too late! I said late! Wobie, you're supposed to jump out and scare them! Oh well, we'll work on it. Only he can use his slingshot, and only he can ride Wobie. His tents are usable, however, and are a great thing to have clinking around in your pockets. I wouldn't necessarily recommend him for a playthrough with others, nor would I say he's awful. He's just kinda, A year ago, DVG made a video saying he's an underrated character, and I say he totally deserves it. He's not just underrated, he's a little underwhelming. Nowhere near the worst, but far from the best in the pack. I don't know, maybe I've been spoiled by the other OP characters, but a rework is really in order. Regardless of gameplay metas or whatever some YouTuber with no life says, if you enjoy the Boy Scout playstyle, I'm not gonna stop you. At least you know how it truly feels to play Walter.